Hello, everyone. We're so excited for you all to be here. I still see that there are a couple people joining us, so I'm going to go ahead and put myself on mute, and we'll get started in just a minute. All right, well, let's go ahead and get started. So hello, everyone. My name is Wajma Sadie. I'm the Director of Account Management at 522 Productions. Thank you for joining us today for our inaugural webinar. I am joined also from her home office, our CEO and VP of Client Services, Elisa Vossen. Through today's webinar, we will be discussing the current media landscape and the impact that we've seen through the COVID-19 pandemic. We plan to spend the majority of our time together sharing best practices and solutions so that you'll be able to walk away with the building blocks and the framework that you need to embrace change and to start your own customized strategic plan. The goal for today's webinar is to provide a resource that is actionable for your team. We hope that you'll be able to take away these ideas and actually build a new strategic marketing plan for your organization. You'll have the tools to build a new plan, and that not only allows for your team to move forward during these unprecedented times, but also one that would allow for your organization to thrive during times where change is necessary. Then in early May, we will also be hosting part 2 of this webinar series, where we will then take the building blocks and the new plans that you've created and then create purposeful video marketing plans that will actually achieve the goals and the ideas that you have identified here. For that webinar, we will be joined by our friends at Iona Senior Services, who will share their story about how they leveraged video quickly and adapted to our new virtual world. In our new normal, we definitely have seen a tremendous reliance on video marketing. So we believe that it is imperative that your videos serve a purpose in the plans that you create. We're really excited to bring all of that to you through this webinar series, and we can't wait to get started. So before I jump in, I just want to cover a few housekeeping items. We plan to make this event as interactive as possible. So if you have any questions at all, please feel free to add those questions in the Q&A section below. We have a really wonderful attendance here today. I'm very excited about that. And so we're going to do our best to get through all of the questions. If we are unable to get to your question, however, we will be following up to make sure that Elisa and our team has an opportunity to connect about whatever is on your mind. So again, please feel free to put in questions at any point. We'd love to hear from you. We're going to make this webinar available on our site, 522productions.com. And for those of you who have registered, you will also receive a recording of the webinar directly after the event as well. And with that, let's go ahead and jump into it. For those of you who may not know us, my name is Wajma Sadie. I'm the Director of Account Management here at 522 Productions. My role is to be here for you guys. I understand your goals, and I'd love to work with clients to identify productive ways to enhance the video marketing plans that you're working on so that they serve a purpose and they are as efficient and successful as possible. I'm really, really excited to be here with you guys today. I think I've said that a few times, but I am. I'm stoked to be here and to facilitate this event. And I'm especially excited to bring to you our CEO, Elisa Vossen, who will be walking us through the agenda and answering the questions. Elisa has been serving our clients for the past 16 years and has been working within the video marketing industry for the past 21 years. She serves all industries, and essentially her role is to help elevate the brands that we work with. As our CEO and VP of Client Services, Elisa is committed to our clients and serves as a resource as we create the strategic plans with our partners. Her experience is not only with the video marketing plans, but also to help leverage videos so that they play a crucial part in your brand, your message, and the initiatives that are important to your organization. Elisa? Oh, you're muted. The classics of the Zoom calls. You're still muted. I got you. There you go.
I was like, you need to unmute me.
Yep.
Cool. Thanks. Yes, I'm excited to be here. It's a lot of fun. This is new, and I hope you guys enjoy it. Please definitely provide feedback. We'd love to hear from you guys. So we'll get more into it, but looking forward to it.
Great. So for this webinar, we're going to break this down into two parts for our agenda. First, we're going to cover the current landscape. We believe that understanding the new normal is an important step and will help us leverage our experience and embrace change. Then, once we've had the opportunity to learn how we think and how we understand change, we'll be able to embrace that and turn that into new efficiencies. So in part two, we're going to present the guidelines and the framework that will enable us and give us a new way to create your strategic plan and to create new opportunities to thrive in 2020 and beyond. Between each section, we're going to be stopping for questions. So again, feel free to pop in any questions that you may have throughout the webinar. Like I said, we're excited to hear from you. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Elisa.
Thank you. Well, thanks everybody for coming. I really appreciate it. Welcome to 522's first webinar. Welcome to the world of firsts. I mean, everyone's coming out of their shells these days and doing things completely different, doing things we never thought we would be doing before. And here I am today doing my first, what I like to call a webby, but it's not. I'll be professional and call it a webinar. But, you know, the reason why we are forcing ourselves to do this, one of the reasons I wanted to do it is we've had a lot of client conversations over the last few weeks about what's happening, what are we doing, what are other people doing, how are we doing it, why are we doing it? So there's a lot of questions, there's a lot of unknowns happening right now. And so what we wanted to do is hopefully answer some of those unknowns for you and kind of do this together because, you know, we can talk about everything that's happening in the world, but I think knowing where we are, what maybe some of the mistakes we've made, and then where we're going to get to is super exciting. And I know even though that we're in a pandemic, we can actually create some pretty awesome stuff. So I do want to talk, you know, this first half of it is going to be a little bit about lessons learned, a little bit about feelings, a little bit about thinking strategies. But all of it, bear with me, is going to make sense once we get into creating the plan and why we need to understand some of these things. So our first thing is understanding the current landscape that we're in. And look at our cool little graphics. I love them. You guys are getting the first sneak peek into 522's new branding elements that we're putting together. So we'd love your feedback. And of course, if any clients are on here that know me, you know I love feedback, you know I love this to be interactive. Feel free to ask questions, feel free to pose anything. If there's audio issues, feel free to jump in. Please make it as interactive as possible. We tried to make the presentation as interactive as possible, so we'll do that. So Kurt, any new clients out there, anybody new looking to learn something new, please take that to heart. You know, the more feedback we get, the better we can be with each other. Also, those who know me know that I love quotes and I love to relate quotes to situations. So you're going to see a lot of quotes because I do find quotes very inspirational and it's very insightful to put us in the right mindset as we're like talking about certain topics. And it kind of sparks like an aha moment, which is something that we love too, because you know that 522 loves aha moments. So let's jump into it. So our first slide today is a fun quote, like I said. This is a quote that I absolutely love. And it actually did not resonate with me until right now. It actually didn't hit home until right now. It's only when the tide goes out that you learn who's been swimming naked. It's so powerful in the sense that it's almost describes every organization in America right now, every organization in this global economy, that the tide went out and we're all standing here being like, huh, what just happened? Like everything was fine. So let's dive a little bit into this because I love to like work through the analogy because I think it really makes sense in the way that we're operating now, especially in the marketing and media industry. So the truism here is amazing, that you're standing there you're in the ocean, you're in the Caribbean, it's amazing, you're having fun, the sun is out, everything's perfect, everybody's happy, you know, what's around you is rosy, and then all of a sudden, the tide goes out, and you're standing there naked, and you're like, oh crap, trying to like, you're exposed, everything's exposed, everything that ever happened is exposed, and you're just kind of like figuring out what to do, how to do it, right? So that's how I feel about this pandemic. COVID showed up and literally exposed all kinds of different things. And I love the statement that crisis reveals, because it really does. It reveals a lot of the negatives and it reveals a lot of the positives. And that's what this means for me. This means that a lot of things were exposed. What it means more to me is who's around you. Who are the people who are around that you can relate to? And I look at this quote and I say, there's two kinds of people. When this situation happens, there's going to be people that are going to be standing there. They're going to panic. They're going to be irrational. They're not going to know what happened. They're going to just stand there and maybe pretend that nobody's looking at them. They're going to pretend it didn't happen. There are going to be people running back to the tide, trying to catch it, saying like, okay, that's my happy place. I'm going to go back and get it and hope that it'll come back and be the best. Or there's going to be this other group of people. And that group of people on the other side is going to be like, cool, that just happened. What am I going to do? And those people are the people who are going to drop everything that they have, and they're going to run as fast as they can to the nearest cabana, and they're going to physically grab as many towels as they possibly can and run as fast as they can back to that person who's been exposed on the beach and start handing out those towels. And that is the group of people that is going to move our industry and our economy and everything forward. And those are the people who create opportunity, and those are the people that create positive change. And so when I think about it, right, I know that it's shocking. It's a shocking event for people, and people will react in different ways. And what I notice is businesses react in different ways too. You know, when we talk about the results, we talk about how we react and what we do in reaction, but we forget that what we do in reaction actually has a long-term effect on our industry or any industry in the long term. So when I think about it, I think the insights here are really crucial, and it's very crucial for crisis management. It's also very crucial for marketing, that we understand how people think and how people feel too, right? Because if you don't, then you're not going to be able to connect to them, right? The person standing there exposed in shock, right, isn't going to connect to those people pointing fingers at them or saying, oh, I see, I told you so. They're going to connect to the person who handed them a towel. And that's who we want to be in this industry. So I encourage everybody to kind of dig a little bit deeper into our audience's psyche a little bit, because that's how we look at video marketing, and I think it's very encouraging. And so I think it gives us a different perspective on how we can actually move forward and actually leverage video in this perspective to actually maximize on our growth, on our business strategies, on our revenue and everything. So let's jump into like thinking strategies. So, you know, when I talk about thinking strategies, it's like one or the other, right? You have an order of thinking. And I'm going to go to my next slide. There's this thing of like first, second, and third order thinking. It started like mathematical, but then it kind of evolved into this higher order thinking. And so when we think about video marketing strategy in particular, since that's what I'm an expert at, or any marketing in particular, you got to think about how your audience thinks. And so when I look at this, it really resonated, because I went back and said, okay, everybody's in this COVID world. How are they thinking? How's the market thinking? How are clients thinking? How are consumers thinking? And I realized that they're thinking not incorrectly, but they're thinking not for the long term. So what is first order thinking? First order thinking is something that happens very spontaneous. It's non-reflective. It contains some truths and contains some errors, but it also has some good and bad reasonings too. So oftentimes, you know, think about the toilet paper situation. COVID hit, everybody hit the stores. They're like, I need TP, I need toilet paper, right? And they thought about just for that moment. They didn't think about how much toilet paper they're actually going to need for 6 months. So eventually they're going to need more toilet paper, right? But Did they sit there and think in those first 4 weeks of COVID that like their kids were going to be home for 36 weeks? Did they think about like no group activities? Did we think about like what we're going to be doing with these children while we're trying to work and do all that type of stuff? So no, if they were thinking in third order, they would have said, cool, we're going to need toilet paper, but we also need a plan for how we're going to manage our life, you know, moving forward. And that's where second order thinking comes into play. So second order thinking raises a little bit more of a level of consciousness, a little bit more of analytical skills, as well as like constructive elements on how to like work towards a plan. And then you get into third order. Third order is where the planning of outcomes actually comes, the formulation of those reactions, as well as a proactive plan. So we all have to think we're in this for the long haul. We all need to make sure that, like, you know, the stimulus package that came out, first order thinking. It's going to solve this immediate issue that we have right now. But what is it going to solve 6 to 9 months down the road? It's not, right? Because that's not what it's built for. That's the same thing. So we're thinking first order all the way to third order. So in terms of like how that actually works, like we know this stimulus package is like a total amazing relief for small businesses. And it's going to make a huge, huge difference to keep us going economically. But if we start thinking in third order, we need to start making a plan for how we're going to be marketing in our world in this new norm. So in a crisis, it definitely reveals a lot. And I love this statement, crisis reveals. It reveals weaknesses, it reveals strengths, it reveals creativity, it reveals adaptation, it reveals motivation, which is super cool. So it's where you fall in that thinking process is where we're going to be in the marketing strategy and how we're going to market to our new audiences. So I talked a little bit about thinking. I want to talk a little bit about the pitfalls that happen when we're in first order thinking. And again, I'm not an expert in psychology, but I am an expert in video marketing. And one thing that we do in video marketing is we think in two mindsets. What are they thinking about? And what are they feeling about? So we have to understand those two kind of psyche worlds in order for us to do our jobs really well. So some common pitfalls that we see, and these aren't new, right? These are basic forms of crisis management. And it's really, these stem 100% from like that in the moment, thinking about it right now. So the first kind of pitfall that I really gravitate towards and I think about is this planning for the situation, not for the decisions. So, you know, even if you change your strategy, even if you adapt to the crisis, even if you, you know, have to like have a major shift in your operations, you need to think that your goals are still going to be the same. You still want to hit a certain revenue target. You still want to hit a fundraising goal. You still need to convert audiences. You still need to have sales. So it doesn't, like your goals don't change. It's just your strategy to get there. So instead of planning and making decisions for the short-term situation, we need to be thinking about what the long-term effect is going to be. And so I'm going to pick on, I have a story, and I always have a story for lots of things, but a story that really resonates with me is I have a friend, a good friend. She works in the healthcare industry. They got hit really hard with it. They are not an essential service. They're an outpatient kind of recovery place, physical therapy. And when crisis happened, within 24 hours, it was like this. She let everybody go. She shut down the facility. She brought in a cleaner. She could only see one patient at a time. And so everything was uprooted. Everything that she had built over the last 3 years changed in 24 hours because she did first order thinking. She did this to adapt to the change. She calls me like, what are you doing? How are you freaking out? She knows I'm a small business owner. And I'm like, I'm not doing anything. I'm not going to freak out. I'm going to weather this storm. I'm going to think about it because I can see the big picture. I want to see where we evolve to, because when we evolve, I'm going to jump on that ship and I'm going to ride that ship in the right direction. So anybody who does that, right, you want to make sure that you're thinking for the long term. And that's what I'm hoping today is, hoping to give you guys a plan to put in place so that we can actually get us to a greater spot. We're stronger on the flip side. But we have to understand what's happening now. We have to understand the pitfalls. And we have to understand people's feelings in order for us to adapt to this stuff. Another pitfall I like to talk about is making slow decisions. So on the flip side, instead of being reactionary, you take too long to make decisions and you don't know what decisions to make because you don't know what the plan is, right? So if you take too long, you know, in a crisis, time is, you know, is essential. You cannot wait it out. Timely communication is essential. So if companies are saying, well, I can't, it doesn't fit my marketing plan, I'm not going to send this stuff out. You need to be communicating through all of it. So you cannot wait. It's not going to go away. We're in it for the long haul. It's not going to be over in 8 weeks like the stimulus package has us. We're in it for the long haul. It's going to be a year. So we need to start adjusting our marketing and our communication and the way that we work with our consumers to plan for the long haul. And you know what? When this did hit, I will give you another story. You know, in 2019, our team, 522, spent a solid 2 to 3 months developing our marketing plan and our strategy and our video content for 2020 and 2021. This hit March 20th, regroup, throw it out the door because it's not going to work anymore. We need to rebuild it because what we're in is a completely different situation. So the other thing, a pitfall for me, is not preparing for variety, right? So variety is in crisis, but also variety is in marketing strategies. So companies sometimes just don't have time. Like we just don't have enough time to think about all this stuff. But now is a great time for us to bring it to light so that we can talk about it. We can start building it. We can build it together, right? So variety to me could be like an operational disruption. What if a cyber breach happens? What if another natural disaster happens? We need to be prepared, and we need a well-designed plan led by people who are strong observers and rapid organizers who can do this appropriately and move very quickly to make the right decisions. And so I see this a lot with marketing plans as well when working with clients, is they just don't have enough variety. They think this one video is going to solve all these problems. But it's not. It's only solving this one problem. And you need to start thinking about all these other ones so that you can keep your communication cadence in the strong enough position or strong position as possible. A biggest pitfall I see is, and we all feel it, is this essential, cutting the essential revenue, generating budgets, you know? So the easiest thing to do is cut departments who you can easily outsource, right? And that's okay. Sometimes we have to make those decisions, and that's where we do. But what we fail to realize is all the work and effort and money and investment we put into building those for the quality of the business that we wanted. And if you uproot that and cut all of that stuff out in response to a crisis, then the culture will take a hit. Your investments are going to take a hit. You're going to have to rebuild at some point. So I always cringe when these things happen. I cringe when services happen. You know, when the pandemic hit it, you know, we had a few clients who basically, you know, canceled events naturally because we weren't allowed to hold events. But instead of like thinking creatively about what else we could be doing, they just kind of are waiting it out, right? They're not doing anything about it, but their goals are still the same. They still have to do fundraising. They still have membership goals. They still have to do recruitment. None of that changes. So we have to be able to shift appropriately to make sure that we're still hitting the goals, regardless of what situation we're in. And so right now, we also have a lot of clients who had spring events, especially nonprofits, because we know that we have 2 seasons for nonprofits, spring and fall, and they're going to cancel their spring one and move it to the fall. Can you imagine how many events are going to happen in the fall now? And how many competing situations are going to happen? Either way, we're still going to be in this lag of different capacities. So we need to start thinking a little bit creative, and we need to change our marketing to get there as well. So with these pitfalls, they definitely create a lot of impact, and we see that impact, and we see it across the globe as well. So things that we can see, and I'm not saying that these specific 4 pitfalls have created this environment we're in. I'm just trying to give you something relatable so that as we get to the plan, which is the most exciting part, we have things that we can kind of process and think about, and insights and ideologies for us to look at. So again, these 4 pitfalls do not correlate to the stats I'm about to show you, but we need to look at the impact of COVID in our industry right now so that we can start processing it and start moving ahead. So I'm not going to read all the stats. You guys are awesome, lovely people. You can read, you're all intelligent, but I am going to call out a few of these, right? We know that this situation, this crisis situation is probably going to cost this global economy close to upwards of $3 trillion. That is a crazy number. I don't even know how to process sometimes that number, because I don't know about you guys, I don't manage $3 trillion. I mean, I know what I manage, right? But that's a crazy number. What's even crazier is the amount of unemployment that's out there, and how, again, a pitfall, we cut certain things because what had happened is everything went stale, and now who's involved is like the unemployment. So I can guarantee you these stats are probably old. I pulled these last week, and in light of the new information that just came out today, I can guarantee you that this percentage of unemployment is a lot higher. That to me is a takeaway, right? Because now we have a different market. We don't have a viable market. We don't have an economy that's willing to buy very quickly. So we need to think about the psyche of our buyers now and where they are in their lives. Another thing that is really key for us in our industry are these last few stats, which is the 63% of us marketers are changing the way that we communicate right now, as we should. I think that is a very viable number. What I think is also really cool is how we're marketing. So stats here show that, like, we're moving towards mission-based, we're moving towards cause-related based, we're moving towards things that matter, as we should. Another key stat for me is how much money is getting cut. 65% of marketers' budgets are being cut due to the disruption. If we are, in our world, part of a revenue generating department and our budget just got cut, we're now being expected to do more with less, and still have the same goals. So that could seem frustrating, could seem unattainable. Maybe the expectations are wrong, but I actually see it as an opportunity. So maybe it's a way for us to get super creative. It also gives us the ability to have some ingenuity, maybe we can do a lot with it. So I know these numbers look very daunting. When I first put this slide together, I was just like, oh my gosh, how are we going to get out of this? It's going to be years before we get out of this, but maybe so. But I know as the American people do not stand. They don't sit down quietly. So we're going to continue to stand, and we're going to continue to fight. And when I look at the new norm, I look at how are we going to build a new long-term plan. So again, I did it with my team. I scrapped 2019 and said, that's gone. Time for today's a new day, and we're going to build a new day. So we're going to build a new marketing strategy. And I also look at this as a huge, huge opportunity. You know why? Because this is where we get to hand out some towels. This is where, as a community, we get to merge together to do something great. So my first towel for you all is something I really love, something that I use as a framework when I work with clients, as well as I work with 522, is this planning framework. So again, none of this stuff is new. It's just a better way and a new way and a more creative way to look at stuff. So crisis planning framework. Look at these, that marketing decisions have to focus on 3 areas. We have to focus on react, adapt, react, adapt, and recover. Again, it's not something new, but it's something, a brand new way to look at things. So we're taking what we know and we're going to apply it in a new direction. And I had a lot of clients who called us and said during this pandemic, how are you guys doing? What are you guys doing? How are you guys doing video now? And I'm like, we're great. We actually have banded together as a team and come up with some pretty wicked cool ideas. How can I help you do that? And it's been such a humbling event to work this way than we did before, which I am going to embrace and do it further. The one thing I want you guys to look at is this is not a process. This is a plan and a long-term effect. You can use it today and you can use it 10 years from now. I want this to be a way of shift in methodology as well as the way that we think about things. So again, going back to the way people think, we think in first order, second order, and third order. So first order is reaction. Security measures were introduced to everybody. We know that there was a huge challenge with that, marketing, as well as professionally and personally. We know that our daily lives were completely restricted by this whole situation. We're all now working from home. You know, I had to literally take my entire company and move them remote. I didn't plan for that, but guess what? We did it. We did it with a smile and some grace, and we were able to make it work. And we're able to make some really cool stuff too. I love the customer reactions or consumer reactions in this. And again, I'm not going to read it to you, but what I want to like kind of walk through is the way that the process, the approach of this plan gets you to the goal. So security measures were induced, but now we're adapting to it. Right now we're in adaptation mode, right? We're enforced, everybody's home. We know we've got a lot of different activities happening. We're trying to maintain the relevancy with our customers. We're trying to maintain our relevancy and improve our daily lives. We're also trying to, improve the short-term effects or the impact of what's happening. But at the same time, we're trying to plan for the long term. I don't know about anybody out there, but I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to do for summer camp because we already know 2 of them have been canceled. So there's a new norm coming and we need to plan for it. We also have some understanding right now about consumer behaviors. And then we've got recovery phase. Recovery phase is going to take us a little bit to get through. But if we're thinking about first, second, and third order, if you had this framework in your world before crisis happened, you would have been able to get to recovery way faster and plan way faster than if you were now stuck here and adapt. So I handed this to my friend in the healthcare and I said, you should look at this. You should start taking this and adapting it to your business. Now this is super, super flexible. Anybody can build this out for themselves. So I'm going to give it to you. Take it, use it, build it, adapt it to the way that your unique business works and use it because at any point it's going to work for you. So story time. Back in October, when we were doing our marketing, we also decided we were going to build a new website. So this one hits home for me because when I was looking at the website, we were working on it. It was working. It was fine. And then COVID happened. And then we're still trying to work the website. We were trying to get it up as fast as possible, right? To help out. So I went back to my framework because something just wasn't right. So I went back to this and I said, why is this not working for me? And I'm looking at it is because when I went to my recovery mode, I realized that there's this whole section about delayed demand. There's a whole section about new customer behaviors, new customer purchasing, everything that we're going to be doing. And I realized the site that we were building is not going to be good for recovery. We do not have a site that's going to give our customers what they need when they need it. So as I was reflecting on it, I was like, I couldn't answer those questions. I couldn't say, how is my site? How am I helping our customers right now? I couldn't do it. So I killed it. I lost the investment. I had to start a whole nother design. I had to invest bigger, more into a site that I knew would get us to recovery. So instead of staying, I didn't get caught up in reaction phase because I knew if I did, I would be lost in recovery down the road. So, and it's kind of cool. So here's the opportunity. We do have a new site coming out in May. And had I not looked at my framework, I would have been launching a really bad website. And I don't want to do that, right? That's not fair to me. That's not fair to our staff. That's not fair to our clients. I need to give our clients what they want and what they need. And that's the key. So build your framework, look at your framework. If you need help with this framework, call us. That's what we're here for. So all of this is thinking strategically. And I hope that this is helpful because we do use this a lot with our clients. When clients come to us and say, here's where I am, here's what I'm doing, I build them a framework and I say, okay, tell me all these things so I can understand who you are, what you do, and why you do it. Again, this is not a process. This is a plan. This is a way forward. This is a way for us to build and recover economically. And this is a way for us to connect better with our marketers. So now that we've grasped thinking, I'm not going to harp on it. Everybody thinks the way that they think. I do also want to make sure, remember when I said in video marketing, we look at two things. We really think about how do our people think, or how do our customers think, and how do they feel? Feelings are huge for us because that's how we connect with people. So I'm going to show you a cool slide. And I didn't come up with this one, but I found this one online. Actually, Wajma found it. And it's super fun. It's super awesome, right? This is an emotional stage of crisis. And I know everybody can relate to something on this slide. You start in survival mode, you go to acceptance mode, then you hit growth mode, right? And if you can't get out of survival, right, then you linger somewhere in acceptance. Go back to your framework because people are thinking survival's first order, acceptance is second order, and growth is third order. And I have this, again, cool quote that I love. And I actually have this in my kids' room because I want them to hold this dear to their heart. You have to grow through what you go through. If you cannot, you will just stay stuck. Grow through what you go through. Take each moment that you have, look at it and take it as an opportunity to learn, to grow, and to change. And here's the cool thing that happens in growth, right? And those who follow me on LinkedIn hear me say it a lot, change for good. Don't just change because somebody told you to change. Change because it matters and change because it's good. The cool thing that happens in growth mode is innovation, creativity. This is where crisis reveals how you're going to like motivate, how you're going to get through it, but it really, growth equals change. So we're going to embrace change today. And we're going to say, forget everything that's happened. Well, don't, because we're in it. But we're going to say, we're going to embrace it. Cool, let's do it. I got you, COVID. We're going to move through this and we're going to move through it fast. So I see Wajma laughing at me. So let's embrace change. What does change do for us? Change creates new efficiencies for higher success, right? Everybody keeps saying, oh, we're in these uncharted waters. I'm like, cool, we get to explore and do different things. There's a new path ahead. That's where we want to be, right? How refreshing is that? I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I don't particularly like to be stuck in status quo. So we're constantly pushing, we're constantly asking for feedback. We're constantly saying, what did we do that we could do better? This is it. Embrace these uncharted waters and let's throw some creativity behind it. I think if we do create these higher efficiencies, we're definitely going to get a bigger gain in the market and build bigger opportunities, which is super fun for me. And I think I want to say this, but take it for a grain of salt, is that all of the clients and marketers that we work with who have elevated, say, a creative product up to an executive who kind of put the kibosh on it because they just weren't ready for that, right? Now's the time to do it. Now's the time to push everything outside of the box and start thinking creatively and how you can embrace your audience. I think if you do, you're going to have a higher return on brand loyalty than you ever expected. Another way to embrace change is to look like an outsider. So, seems a little weird to say that, but you need to look at your business like you've never looked at it before. Look at it like a client, right? Look at it as if a different facet and that you have no idea what you're getting into it and come up with a brand new world. You know, what makes 522 really great at being an outsider is that we get to evaluate clients and give them a perspective that they've never had before, because we're not living in their day-to-day, right? We're not the experts at healthcare, but what we can do is come in and do our framework and our evaluation and give you a perspective that you never thought you had before. And that perspective is like, that's your aha moment. So we want to make sure that we look at this, take a step back, answer this question. What are your customers doing without you? If you can answer that question, then this is probably not for you. If you cannot answer it, good, because that's the plan we're going to get you to. And that's how we want to we constantly want to operate in this mode because this is challenge mode. This is where we get to break through all of the noise. Now I get it. This stuff is overwhelming and there's a lot going on. And I'm saying a lot of stuff too. Trust me, this webinar could have been 6 hours long and my team had to like corral the way I was talking about it. But if you stick with me, we're going to get you there. And I promise those who know me, trust me, I provide loyalty and I would not steer you wrong. But please understand this. This is not a marathon. If you sprint in the beginning, you're going to just vomit all over your shoes. This is a long-term plan that we're going to get you there. We have to do it together and you have to commit to it. So whenever you say, we're in this together, we really are. It's not like we're in this together, we're 6 feet away and, oh, I hope you do okay. Go get them. Like that's not what we're doing. We're saying, let's open our doors. Let's like pick our niches, let's be experts and let's do this together. Let's hand out some towels. Going back to our first quote. So at the end of the day, we want to get to recovery mode. We want to get to the conversions. We want to get to change. The last thing I'm going to say is be bold. Bolder communication is what's going to make you stand out. Video is the most versatile tool, not just because I'm a video agency, but video is the most versatile tool in the market right now. You need to be leveraging video. It's emotional, it's relatable, and it's a true connection to a relationship, which is what your audience needs right now. They need that human connection. They need that experience. And the only way you're going to give them to them is not an email campaign, it's through video. And don't be afraid to be bold. You know, the bolder you go, we can always back down bold, but if you start kind of like scared, right, people are going to feel that. So don't be afraid to be bold. Here's the other great thing about video and why it's super important in change is that you can change it at any point. You can literally change the message and it will change the dynamics of the conversation. You can take it down. You can put it up for a very specific audience and then remove it. How many times do you get an email that says, oop, we printed something wrong, or oops, here's the right link, or how many emails did you get, right? With video, you could just take it down, put it back up. Nobody will know the difference. I don't understand why people are not doing it more. So how do we know all this? We know all this because we live it, we eat it, we breathe it every day. We're a video agency. I have been doing marketing my entire life. I've been doing it for ad agencies. I've been doing it for myself. I've been doing it for Discovery. I've been doing it for all kinds of people. These ideologies will live with us and these ideologies are not going away. And here's why. It's because that our institutional knowledge about this stuff is because we get to see everybody's business model. If I worked in finance, I only know finance. I don't know anything else, right? If I do nonprofit, that's how I function in nonprofit. For 522, we actually get to see all of these different industries, all of these different business models, and we get to actually be the outsider and take it all in and then prescribe like what we think is the best recommendation. And I look at it the same way for my business. I am an expert in video. I am not an expert in accounting. So I hire an expert CPA to do that for me because I know my weaknesses and I know where my strengths are. So we need to leverage those aspects of each of us in this industry to move us forward. So how do we get there? What are the next steps? Cool, great question. Love it. I think understanding some change agents, we can embrace change all we want, but we need to understand why we're going to embrace it and how those change agents kind of actually work with us. So what are some change agents? I have 3 listed here. First one is that marketing has moved beyond branding and PR and advertising. It's a whole nother world. And we've seen probably over the last few years, this massive shift in the way that we work together, especially as marketers. Marketing has to work with other departments in order to build a great customer experience, not customer service, customer experience. So we're not selling to people anymore. We're giving them an experience to embrace so that when they need something, they call the right people. So sales and marketing cannot do this alone. It is a whole company approach. It takes all the way from sales to marketing, client service to operation to manufacturing to product delivery, to finance, to HR, wherever you are, it takes a whole holistic view in order for this to happen. So marketing has become not an external thing, but an internal thing as well. Because if you don't have your team embracing your marketing, they're not going to be able to provide that experience for the client that you just sold. So it's almost like an organism now. And you have to look at it as an organism. And as soon as you take something out of that organism, it's going to start falling apart. And I think it really needs to be said that quality matters. So you have to make sure that what you're putting out there resonates at the highest quality that you can. It also takes the entire company. So I'm going to move a little bit faster because I know we're kind of pushing at time. Buyers are smart. I love this little analogy, SMART, S-M-A-R-T, everybody knows it, SMART goals, SMART everything. But truly, buyers are really different now. They are specific, they are measurable, they spend more time reaching and evaluating stuff, they do all of their homework. They also want stuff quickly. They want it at their fingertips. They want things realistic and attainable. They also want it timely. They don't want to wait. They want to purchase. Think about the delivery system now. How great, like stores are shutting down because you can just buy everything online and have it delivered right to your house. So buyers are smart. I also think another change agent is that you have to think that video is going to be a profitable portion of your marketing. If you don't, it cannot just be another piece of information that you put in there. It has to be thought of as a profitable piece of your marketing. So it takes a higher focus. It's a primary focus. So it generates the revenue and ROI that you need. So I'm going to put my money where my mouth is and show you a few stats, which are pretty, these stats speak for themselves. One stat that I'm going to call out is that marketers who use video grow 49%. That's a pretty awesome number already. Imagine what we can do with that number in video marketing and changing the way that we do things if we had a even greater. And I know they predict 2020 to 21. This is going to probably jump 20 to 30%. So, Wajma, do we want to take a quick break for questions or keep going?
Yep, let's, we have a couple questions coming in. So let me just toss one at you and then we can keep going and save the rest of these for after part 2 here.
Okay.
Cool. So the first question we got is, how do you integrate video into your marketing campaign?
Don't integrate it. Again, we talked about the framework. We talked about rebuilding. We have to rebuild it as a vital piece of a plan. It cannot just be haphazardly thrown into something that's already created because it's not going to convert the way that you think it's going to convert. Most organizations, if you really want to start video right now, I suggest we start a video marketing plan separate from what your marketing is. Because if that marketing plan is converting and doing what it's supposed to be doing, we don't want to disrupt that organism. We want to create a new one that's going to create higher value.
Great. Yep, I want to be conscious of time, so I'm going to let you keep going. And but these questions that are coming in are really fantastic, so please keep them coming, and we're going to get to them at the end of the webinar.
Okay, cool. So I did a lot of talking about kind of pitfalls and failures, and I don't want to focus on that, but one thing I do want to focus on is that failure equals success. So please look at all these pitfalls, please look at the impact, please look at how we react, please look at the thinking orders, please look at how we feel about them and change them into something for us to succeed, because you have to fail in order to succeed, and that's where change means true growth. So now I want to get into kind of like the cool stuff. Let's create a plan. So today we're not going to be giving you a plan, but what we're going to do is give you some frameworks and kind of the baseline structures to get us to a plan. That's what we're doing for the next webinar. And I'm still not going to give you a plan. I'm not going to give you a plan that is going to be plug and play. I'm going to give you the framework and the kind of building blocks to get to that plan. And here's why. Anybody can Google video marketing template, and you're going to get an Excel sheet, and you're going to download it, and you're going to fill it in, and then you're still not going to know what to do with it. That's because it's just kind of BS, to be quite honest. Every plan is unique to you, your business, and the way that you market, and that's what we need to get to. So I love this. Again, here's another quote. So that I can leave you with is that video is more than something we can watch leaning back in our chairs. I know everybody sits there at night and just kind of does this. You know, you look through it. Oh, look, I'm doing video consumption. Great. It's also increasingly something that we can interact with. So lean forward, pay attention, and start engaging, because that's exactly where we need our audience to be. So time for a marketing facelift. What do we do? What we're going to do is we're going to start working on how we're going to rebuild marketing and how we're going to redo it. We need to understand that everything is different. Brands are different. Customers are different. Clients are different. We are different. How we think is different. Moving forward, everything's going to be different. We cannot come out of this crisis in the same old, same old. Can't do it. Status quo is not going to exist. We need to remember to embrace change so that we can head out of it, and this is how we do it. So we have to keep that in mind. Digital marketing is very vast and confusing. It's going to get even more confusing. There's so many options. There's so many things that you can do. Again, remember the website? So I was talking to the developers, and they're like, well, this new site has too much stuff going on. It's not going to convert. Google's not going to convert it. I'm like, what? How do you know? Guess what? Google changed everything. Google's changing the pricing to adapt to the times. Google's changing all their algorithms. Google's changing everything. So for you to tell me that this site isn't going to convert using your old school ways, cool, because it's not. I know that. That's why we're building a new site. That's why you, as the developers, need to go figure out what Google's doing so that we can convert it. Again, embrace the change. Old things aren't going to happen. All these new things are going to happen. And everything is going to be different. I mean, even you can buy Facebook ads for the same price as 2013 now. That's insane to me. Why aren't we buying more of it? Well, because nobody knows what to market. Everybody's kind of stuck. I don't know what to put out there right now because we're in this crisis. We can answer that. The other thing is all these new platforms, right? There's so many options. It's like walking into Wegmans and saying, I just want to buy crackers, and there's 100 different crackers. Well, guess what? That's the same thing with the way that we're working with all these different platforms. You have YouTube, you have Facebook, LinkedIn's coming up as one of the higher platforms to distribute. Instagram. I mean, Facebook Live is different than Facebook. There's too many options, but you need to do some education in order for us to understand who and what works on these platforms. Look at TikTok. I mean, who knew TikTok made the board? But they're creeping up there as a channel that we should be like marketing on. Doesn't mean you have to do a TikTok video, but it means you have to get smart on how you market on it. Again, I know this is a lot, but I just want you guys to know we've got your back. So if you have questions outside of this webinar, feel free to reach out to us. I'm happy to have conversations to talk about this more. I can talk about it all day long. The other thing is distribution. And having valuable content on these distributions. If you don't have a plan for your promotion, then it's just not going to work. And as well as committing to the plan. Oftentimes I see so many clients who create the videos, they have a litany of things that they're going to do, they're going to walk them through this journey, and then they just fail at the plan like midway through because they don't do the analytics that they need to do to make sure that the outreach is converting. So create the videos, make sure they're valuable, as well as committing to a full plan. And guess what? It's going to be expensive. It's an investment. Just like I spent twice. I had to buy a website twice now. I had to make an investment because I knew what the end result is going to be. So you cannot make sure it's like, well, this is what I have left over in my marketing budget for video. No, this is what I have for video, and here's what I have left over for marketing, because that's what's going to give you the greater power in your marketing strategy. The next thing is a checklist, but I have one quick story. I'm going to try and do it in 60 seconds. We had a client come to us, and they said they are a well-known global brand. They have numerous markets. They have all kinds of cool marketing. They have all kinds of channels. They do video, but they came to us and they said, help us. We don't know how to use video. I'm like, you guys are a global brand. How do you not know how to use video? Well, it's because they didn't understand how it connected into their brand. And I said, well, what does your audience want? And they said, video. They keep asking for more and more video. I said, well, okay, yeah, that makes sense. Everybody wants video right now. So she's like, here's my wish list. Here's what everybody's asking me for. She handed me an Excel sheet. Not me, she handed our team. And there was literally 121 video requests on there. And I was like, holy mackerel. We're going to do this in what, 3 months? We can't do that in 3 months. We need a plan. We need a strategy. We need to understand this audience. We need to understand what they want and how they want it. So we spent a few weeks and we developed them a plan. But I could have easily just taken this list and given them a bunch of videos. They still would have not done what they were supposed to do, right? So that's the investment you need to make. Make it in education, make it in the video, and make it in the strategy, because that's where it's going to convert. So next thing is our checklist. This is how we're going to start building a plan. Is we have to commit to revitalizing our marketing strategies. In the revitalization, we have to do a bunch of things. These things are going to be, the first thing is a digital asset audit. We actually did this with quite a few clients. Show me what you have. Do you have a website? Do you have social media? Do you have video content? Do you have email campaigns? And we do this going into every project. We do our research because we need to understand how and why, right? Once you have that, you need to understand where the analytics of all those digital assets are, so we can understand what the audience is doing and why they're doing it. Then we're going to redefine all the business goals. Now the goals can be the same, but they have to match recovery phase. They need to be involved in the business marketing plan. We also need to redefine some personas, right? What Ellen executive was thinking 6 weeks ago is not what she's thinking right now, right? What Mark the marketer wants is not going to be the same. Does he have the same buying power? I don't know. So all of our personas are going to be different, and we need to think about how we're going to reach them and how we're going to talk to them. We're also going to redevelop a customer journey. Now the customer journey can be simple. Most people think of it as a sales funnel. It's like awareness, consideration, delight. But guess what? This funnel needs to come back out. And this is where video is very important. This is where we create loyalty. This is where we create brand awareness. This is where we create ambassadorships. And this is where you create customers for life. And the only way to do that is through video. The other thing we're going to do is a distribution plan. All those digital assets and analytics, we're going to be able to see who we're going to talk to and why. And that's the really, really important part of it. Two also very important parts is going to be develop the content strategy. You cannot have one video that's going to do everything. It's not going to happen. You need a series of videos in order for it to do it and for it to do it and do it well. And then we're going to analyze and assess it, right? We need to know the performance, what's working, not working. Once we get through the kind of performance, we need to do the strategy and adapt and make sure that we are able to kind of test messaging, what's happening in our messaging. There's my kids, welcome to the new norm. Even though I told them not to come in here. Super fun. So even CTAs, we can change those. That's the beauty of video. We can change it and change it fast to help convert and measure the way that we need to, not like the other offline marketing strategies. I also have this like challenge contest on here, or content, is basically that we can't live in status quo. What we created 6 months ago isn't going to work for another 6 months. We need to keep video fresh and consistent in how we do that. Some videos will have longevity and have 5 years of shelf life, and some won't. And that's okay. You just need to understand where the investment is going to be and how we're going to measure it and why we're going to do it. And that should provide the most valuable ROI that you'll ever have. Maybe I won't run through. I did have a few more slides, but I know we're running up against time. These slides are really kind of the cool marketing trends that I want everybody to think about. So as we're rebuilding marketing, there's things that we can be doing that's new and things that we can be doing that we know are working, right? Interactive video is huge. You need to have it as part of your strategy at some point. And interactive video content is really, doesn't have to be like this full-on immersion of stuff. It could be simple, like hotspots on your video. It could be simple as choose your own venture. 360 video. It doesn't have to be anything massively confusing or like over your head by any means, but it's something we need to consider for now and next year as well. Personalization is huge. We need to be able to personalize our marketing. Consumers are tuning out all the generic stuff. They don't want to see it. They want to know how it connects to them, why it connects to them, what do they think, how do they feel, all of that type of stuff. Virtual and augmented reality is coming up hot. I say this has probably got another year, 2 years before everybody's going to want it. So I would say start thinking about it. We do have vendors, partners that we work with a lot to help us with augmented reality, which is super cool. So something to think about. Another thing about a shoppable post. So as Google's redoing all of their algorithms, this is a no-brainer for me. Everybody's online. everybody's shopping online. Everybody's pulling things from online. They want to shop online and they want to do it easily and at their fingertips. And then as well as video content. Save video content for last, but that's kind of what we've been sort of talking about in terms of like getting us to a plan, but it's a must. High quality video content consistently it has to be part of your campaign right now. So there are two other trends that I think are getting kicked to the can, which are smart bidding as well as the zero SERP on your websites. But given where we are now, I think it's going to take us 2 years to get to those two trends, but that's where we are. So I leave you with one more quote, because again, I love quotes. And I think this quote is super fitting to kind of put the bookend of the presentation together. And before we break for questions, I leave you with this one sentiment. I can't change the direction of the wind, but I can adjust the sails to always reach my destination. And that's exactly where we need to from today. It's a new day, and we're going to brace everything that we can. We're going to let go of what we cannot control, and we're going to start embracing what we can. So let's take today and move forward and start building a better way of communication. And I look forward to seeing you for part 2, because part 2 is where I actually give you some resources to walk away with. Wow.
Great. Thank you, Lisa. I know that is a ton of information to get through. So I know we're at time. We're going to do one question again, and then I will follow up with everyone. Thank you for putting in the questions and for allowing for us to get through this material. Like Lisa said, this is a lot of materials, but hopefully you found it useful, and we're excited to kind of run forward with this plan with you all. So Elisa, the question that we have for you is, how do we know if our videos are profitable, and what metrics should we be looking for with the videos we create?
It's hard. I need more clarity. I need to do a little bit more analytics behind that, but they're profitable when they make an impact. And so videos who have a purpose and have an impact, and you can see the connection that they're making, no matter what the purpose or the goal is, right? We can be looking at different ways on how they convert. And I would put them in this funnel in 3 different spots. At the top of brand awareness, I would put them in the delight phase, and I would also put them at the ambassadorship and see where they convert the highest. And so if I'm able to get them all the way through the funnel, then I know I've hit a conversion rate. Because here's the other thing that's happening. There's a lag in sales, right? From when they start researching to when they start buying, they're doing more time in that lag. So we need to make sure that the videos are being connected with all through that. So we can put a lot of metrics behind it. We can put, is there increase in website? Is there click through to what? To social, to a landing page? Is it email marketing? Are they converting in the sales cycle by looking at FAQ videos or how-to videos? So there's lots of ways to see if videos are profitable.
Awesome. And then there's one more question that came in I want to get to. That's the beauty of, our customers aren't active on social media. Are there other ways to showcase our videos with our customers?
Yes, there's always ways that we can connect with video. If they're not active in social, we'd like to know why. Are you actually even using social to connect with them? Because if you don't have a consistent social presence, then that's a little bit different. But we can connect with them either on third-party resources like pages that connect out. This happens a lot with education, that we know that they'll either communicate with a third-party vendor or a third-party listserv, or if they're going through administrations of some sorts. We see this happen a lot in education, but video resonates in email, video resonates in newsletters, video resonates in all kinds of other distributions that we can work for, forums, conferences. So it doesn't always have to be social. Social is just a very instant way of connecting, but if it doesn't work for your audience, it's fine. Right? We have other ways that we can connect with them. And honestly, those other realms, by including video in an offline type of marketing strategy, boost the open rate by 19, 20, 25%. And we actually did it too. We actually put video in we A/B tested sales emails, and we put video in one email and no video in the other one. Guess which one converted? The video. So it boosts click rates. It reduces unsubscriptions as well, and actually increases kind of the membership drives.
Great. So I know we're a bit over time. So again, we're going to follow up with the questions that came in. Thank you again. I just want to say we do have part 2 of this webinar. So now that we've had the opportunity to give the framework, give the guidance on how to start your customized strategic plans, feel free to follow up with us. Feel free to we're so happy to work with you guys to create this and to create that customized creative and marketing plan for your organization. Like Elisa said, there's no template for this. So hopefully you have the guidance to get started, and then we'll be following up with our friends from Iona Senior Services about how they did it, and look out for those emails. Thank you again, and have a great rest of the week.